When you know, but if you study long, you study wrong. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? I'm Christopher Markland, author of the books Desperately Seeking Exclusivity, Desperately Seeking Pleasure, with my third book, Desperately Seeking Clarity, to be released soon. Links to purchase each book is in the description section, so please pick up a copy, and y'all make sure you leave a review. Now, welcome to my analysis/review of Season 4, Episode 10. Speaking of clarity, this episode is called Getting Clarity. Now, I don't just talk about and regurgitate and let y'all know exactly what you've already watched. No, I don't do that. What I try to do is use the show itself as a way to talk about male-female interaction when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to just love in general.
Y'all kissed? Hold on.
We did kiss.
What? I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not the move. That's not cool.
It was a gut punch, hearing that.
I was like, we gotta talk about this more.
So the previous episode ended with Alexis confronting Amber about Amber kissing Ron, to be clear. Now, we talked about how basically when Ron got off, when he was eliminated, he pretty much just lit the match and just set everything on fire on his way out the door. Now, I know, and I will say this, and I'm gonna say it a couple times throughout, this review, that the editing gremlin, you can see it's there. You can see how they are editing the show in order to, get the drama up and also to move certain storylines across. However, regardless of what the editing gremlin got to do, that still does not excuse the fact that a man should not kiss and tell. If you do something with somebody, that's your personal business. That's between you and her. So regardless of what it is you think you need to do, you telling who you kissed or what you kissed, that's just something that not just a man, but just people shouldn't do in general.
But let me explain.
But explain, because I'm giving you this moment.
Give me the
but this is
opportunity.
where this passion comes,
And I
because that's
understand
messed
that.
up to me.
I understand that. Okay, for one, it was not a date.
Certain jobs require you to keep a level head. I mean, you cannot meet emotion with emotion. And Amber, being an assistant DA, she has got to be able to maintain her composure regardless of what the situation is in front of her. Now, Alexis is definitely upset, and rightfully so. I mean, she felt betrayed, if you will. Damn, she called the woman a Judas. That's serious. He went biblical on her. But at the end of the day, just because the person in front of you is passionate and upset doesn't mean that you have to meet their energy with your own. My therapist Spirit always says the problem is the problem, not the person. You're not the problem. They're not the problem. The problem is the problem. And what happens a lot of times is you get so upset, get so passionate, get so indignant because the person across from you is coming at you a certain way. You start to match their energy and y'all start getting into it, and the problem falls into the background because now y'all going at it is now the issue at hand.
I took my friend out because he was getting deployed. Ron said, I got this place, I'll get y'all in free. It wasn't like a setup date. Ron and I barely even talked. He kissed me, we kissed, whatever.
I can't wrap my mind. It's like, that's the girl code, yo.
I definitely understand where Alexis is coming from. It's one thing for Amber to kiss the dude that Alexis is interested in. That's one thing. But then to be all up in her face, like what she was saying, be on her house praying, being at her house praying for her, things like that, and then to not tell her about what she did, that's a bigger issue, because that right there is where you can't trust the person. And it's a little bit treacherous, and that's where we were talking about how Amber's moving a little bit reckless. It's like, hey, if you know that Alexis is forming a connection with Ron and you're not, say something to your homegirl, or at least someone that's supposed to be your friend.
I understand the perspective. To be honest, I wanted to tell you, but I knew that the real reason that you did not want to, that you were conflicted with Ron, was because of their prayer. It looks bad, and I understand your frustration with that, but you were gonna make a decision off of something that happened that night that meant nothing.
It's not up to Amber to decide why or why not Alexis may walk away from Ron. At the end of the day, if Amber considers Alexis to be a friend, then if Amber and Ron shared a kiss, then Amber should tell Alexis, hey girl, this is what I did, this is the situation, this is what happened. But instead, obviously she kept the information to herself. And for Amber to be like, hey, it was nothing, what may be nothing to Amber could be everything to Alexis. It's not up to Amber to decide how, Alexis should move when it comes to her situation with Ron.
I should have started off with this. I apologize to you. Ron did not fully tell you the truth. However, I hold myself accountable for not telling you at that appropriate time. I up. I apologize, honestly.
In my review of episode 9, we talked about the difference between honesty versus transparency when it came to Joel and his situation with Vernisha and bringing in Kyra and all that other stuff. The same thing applies here with Amber and her being transparent and honest with Alexis. Yes, she's being honest now and she's telling Alexis exactly what happened and how things went down. But what she wasn't is transparent with her prior to them all getting together and say, hey girl, this is what happened, man. I went out with Ron last night and things happened and, you know, as they say, whoop-de-woo, you know, we kissed. If she had been transparent with Alexis, it's like Amber, Alexis, Lord, that's a lot. Anyway, if Amber had been transparent with Alexis prior to this, it wouldn't be the situation that it is now. You know, now I will say this, Amber did give a true heartfelt apology and she said, girl, this is what I did. And she held herself accountable for her behavior. Once again, we talked about apologies versus non-apologies where, hey, this is what I did and you apologize for your behavior, not I'm sorry that you didn't like what I did or some, you know, BS like that. So I will give Amber credit for apologizing. However, she definitely was not transparent with Alexis, but she is being honest now.
Oh man, hold on, sexy today.
Men are visual, so I just thought, you know, let me give them a little eye candy, something to look at.
Shit, Kyra bringing that heat, yo. Okay, I see. Now, okay, I may be married, but I ain't blind, y'all. So come on, don't judge me. But she is 100% right. Men are visual creatures. We like what we like, and when we see a woman for the first time, we're not looking to see like, yo, I wonder how many college degrees she got. I wonder what her job title is. I wonder her upbringing. I wonder how much money she makes. We don't give a damn about that. We like, yo, she looks good. We are hunters. I say it all the time. Y'all know I say this. Men are hunters. And just like any other hunter, when they see something that they if we see something, we want to say, yo, is that something that we want to pursue? Is she someone that we want to go after? And like I said, it's not because of all of the adjectives that say, yo, she is this, she's that. No, it's how does she look? It's not a matter about us being shallow. It's just human nature. Men hunt. And for us to hunt, we got to see something that we want to hunt.
Jason, I have a question.
So what brings you peace when you deal with a partner?
From my perspective, when a woman doesn't trust you, then there ain't no peace because she's constantly bringing up something or she's questioning.
The one thing that most men want is peace. In a conflict, if the opposing sides don't trust each other, then there can't be peace. But the minute that they agree and say, hey, I trust what you're saying is true, that's when peace can be attained. The same thing can be said for relationships. We talked about the three-legged stool analogy where trust is balanced on the three tenets of sex, communication, and finances. If any one of those three things is out of balance, then trust is going to suffer. And once the trust is gone, there can't be any peace in a relationship.
I'm shocked because you've been telling me everything, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, we talk about everything.
But at the end of the day, who are you with?
I just wanted to kind of get an assessment of what I thought.
I gotta say, man, that's usually a line that a dude uses when his hand's caught in the cookie jar, right? Yo, I'm with you though, ain't I? I mean, I'm here though, right? I mean, yeah, I know you caught me in 4K doing what, you know, but I'm here, ain't I? I don't know. I understand that KG and Amber ain't necessarily in a committed relationship as of yet, but they are dating. And like we just talked about with trust, I don't know. I think, you know, KG needs to make sure that he moves with his eyes wide open.
I actually do feel closer to Amber after how she handled herself. Like, I'm going to make mistakes too, you know, so the good and what no bad, I'm happy for it all, and here we are.
Crazy thing is, I feel where KG's coming from. Now, don't get me wrong. He could be going off. He could be talking to her about how, you know, the betrayal, the breaking of the trust, all of those things. But most couples, quiet as it's kept, after infidelity, after a little bit of cheating, after all that stuff, they do tend to stay together. Of course, some bounce is like deuces, I'm out of here, but most of them stay together. And once again, they're not in a committed relationship as of yet. However, this is something that they definitely need to work on moving forward.
I'm glad that Chris accepted my apology. He's just secure about himself, secure about me, because, you know, I can be a little wild, I can do a little stuff. So we're clear and we're moving forward.
You kiss Ron Saturday night. Do I get a kiss on a Monday night?
You get a kiss.
This is what I was talking about when I spoke about my concern about their difference in age. Amber is younger than KG, and as such, she moves differently than he does. Now, they do have good chemistry together, and they definitely have a solid foundation from which they can build on. However, they're going to have to really do a lot of work on that. And also, side note, did my man KG slip a little tongue in there? It's like, bruh, hey.
What I could see, Kyra spent majority of her time talking to Jason and with AJ, a bunch of conflict. It made me feel like, okay, new mercies, new grace. Woo, now we have a better chance of hanging out.
It seems to me that Alexis never moves from a position of strength. Instead, she comes from the standpoint that that the other women's weaknesses, and therefore I'm gonna move differently. She did the same thing, it seemed, with Chrysanthemum, where she talked about how Chrysanthemum was dressed at the lounge, and now we see her doing the same thing here with Kyra, talking about Kyra and AJ always are arguing or whatever. So instead of her coming from the standpoint of, hey, this is who I am and I am the best woman for you, Ron. Hey, this is who I am the best woman for you, AJ. She instead seems to pivot off of what the other person, the other woman that the man has his interest in, she pivots off of them. That's not necessarily a good way to move, in my opinion.
I decided to share a room with him. It's like a mixture of tea and coffee.
Maybe. We slept well. Y'all wanna know something happened now? Ain't nothing happened, you dig? Ain't nothing happened. Something could have happened. And I enjoyed the cuddle. That let me know one thing. I can lay next to this baby.
Joelle and Vernisha, they're on cruise control right now, right? It's like Jason said a couple episodes back, hey, just make sure I'm invited to the wedding. Now, I will say this. I like the fact that Joelle cut off any of the did they, didn't they narratives because they spent the night together by saying that they didn't. What in that situation, it's like, hey, even if they did do something, nobody's gonna come back and say, hey man, what happened? You know, because Lord knows, you know that the production will try to make that a thing in order to create another storyline or whatever. But I also like the fact he's like, if I wanted something to go down, it could have. I like how he played that whole situation right there. And I gotta ask, is coffee mixed with tea a thing? I've never heard of it. Y'all let me know in the comment section.
Don't do it no more, Joelle. Don't do nothing else.
Next time you going in the doghouse, you heard?
What the heck? I'm gonna be in the doghouse.
Put me in the doghouse, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gonna be in there.
Gonna build two of them things, you heard?
You gonna be in there for some days.
Joelle apologizing and Vernisha accepting his apology allowed them to pretty much put that situation behind them and move forward and then enjoy their time together on the ranch. Y'all, I know I'm guilty of this where I will hold a grudge to, man, I'm Aries. I hate to say it, but I'm working on that. That's where therapy comes in because you got to let stuff go. Because if you don't let it go, what that means is you are living in that moment. And if you're in that moment that happened back then, you cannot move forward and be present in what's going on around you at the time. And we see that with Joelle and Vernisha right there.
At this point, I'm very secure in me and Jason's connection. The fact that this man has pursued me relentlessly.
So Jason pursued her relentlessly, as he should. Like I always say, men hunt. Not a problem with that. Now, Liz was torn between David and Jason, and up until the point where David just showed out when there was an issue with the confrontation between Liz and her ex, and then David just, self-eliminated. Once David self-eliminated, then of course Liz can now give 100% of her attention to Jason. She doesn't have any other distractions. So of course it makes sense that Jason and Liz are able to form a better connection. But like I said, Jason relentlessly pursued Liz. Put a pin in that.
It's elimination week, and Alexis Fly is not a quitter. I like the win. So my focus at this moment is on AJ and how we can work it out.
You know what really grinds my gears? This Alexis Fly thing. It's annoying. Yo, just be you, man. You don't need to have no alter egos or nothing like that. But anyway, one thing about Alexis is she wants to win, or in any case, she doesn't want to lose. That's fine, I get it. However, at this point, we've seen her. She either wanted to be Ron's number one, or she wanted to be AJ's number one. And I understand as well. You have to say, hey, where do I stand? But instead of pursuing the connection and building a strong, deep connection to where there is no doubt as to who either one of those men's number one is, whether it's Ron or AJ, Ron at the time or AJ now. But instead, it's still the same situation.
Yesterday, me and Kyra spent some time with each other by the poolside. But because of the reservedness, I would say, with her, she hasn't told me how she wants me to move forward as far as my pursuit for her. So,
y'all know I love some nature shows, especially the ones where they talk about the predators hunting the prey and all that. Now, in all of them documentaries that I've watched, I have never, ever heard or seen one where the prey tells the hunter how to pursue it. I ain't never seen one where the gazelle be like, yo, I want you to chase me this way, and then when I cut to the left, I want you to come around. No, I ain't never seen that. The hunter hunts. Okay, that's how it is. When a man sees a woman, he pursues her the best way that he can. Some men have money, some men have looks, some men just silly as all get out. Whatever tools that man has at his disposal is what he uses. One thing about the nature shows as well is that when certain predators hunt, what they do is they separate the one that they want. The prey that they want, they separate it from the pack. Jason did the same thing when he did this.
Kyra?
Uh-huh.
Jason.
Jason,
nice meeting you. How you doing today?
Love your makeup.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I did not mean to interrupt your story. No, I said, let me just go chat with them. So.
Well, since you did, I'm gonna pull you away here. Come on.
Okay. All right.
So he made his move. He didn't walk up to her and be like, hey, how do you want me to pursue you? Do you want me to maybe pull you aside, or how do you want to do this? No, he saw what he wanted. He saw someone that was like very attractive. So he moved in and pulled her aside and started talking to her. That's where we are. That's how they got to where we are now. It's not a matter of, oh, how do you want me to pursue you? The only reason why you would ask somebody, how do you want me to pursue you, is because you're asking them to choose you. And if you recall, that's not how Kyra moves. In fact, she specifically said this.
That whole Houston, players get chose, men get chose, does not work for this girl.
Kyra has said that she's not a woman that's going to choose a man, okay? And we also know that Jason relentlessly pursued Liz. So if Jason wants to have something with Kyra, then he should relentlessly pursue her the same way he's relentlessly pursuing Liz. The problem is you cannot relentlessly pursue two women, or at least not for long. You got to either choose one and go after that person, or you choose the other and go after them. You cannot do both, at least not sustainable long term. That right there is where Jason is running into that, and trying to get Kyra to commit. No, that's not right.
So just like you're still figuring out, you don't know, I don't know. AJ and I have talked, and we're trying to figure out what that conflict was. And so we were seeing if there was any potential resolution there. Like, this experience is part of the process, which I needed to see.
The truth of the matter is, Jason knows who he wants. Women control the wop, men control the walk, meaning the relationship. Jason is relentlessly pursuing the woman that he wants. When a man wants a woman, it shows in his actions. We talked about this a few reviews back, but when we compared the difference between the date that AJ had with Kyra versus the date that he had with Amber. AJ is very interested in Kyra, so therefore it was just a whole different vibe on the date. And you saw the complete opposite, where basically him and Amber were sitting on a park bench somewhere sipping on some juice or whatever. That shows the difference in intention. And the same goes here with Jason and Liz versus Jason and Kyra. Jason is being fully intentional with Liz, and it's Liz's own words. He's pursuing me relentlessly. With Kyra and Jason, yes, Jason's going after her, but the energy is just not the same.
It's confusing to me because with AJ, they get into arguments all the time. And it's not about comparing, but it's just like, are you really evaluating the men, or are you really evaluating yourself?
What does it matter how he feels about how AJ and Kyra communicate?
How does it make you feel? It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
there seems to be a focus on how Kyra and AJ communicate this episode. We saw Alexis make a comment about it, and now we see Jason doing the same thing. I get Alexis's motivations as to how Kyra and AJ communicate, but when it comes to Jason, it really shouldn't matter how Kyra and AJ talk to each other, because if Jason was pursuing Kyra relentlessly like he was with Liz, then Kyra would not have the bandwidth to even give Jason any time, because she would be focused on Jason. Lord knows it's a lot. So it doesn't really make any sense that, well, Jason, AJ and Kyra talk a certain way. Bruh, if you were talking to Kyra and giving her the energy that her focus stayed on you, AJ would be inconsequential at this point.
And I feel like I was communicating that.
Well, by this time, you should have an idea who you want.
When I was asked who I would leave with, I said Jason, and I told you that. Did I not tell you that?
Yeah, but...
Man, whenever you're talking to somebody and y'all are having a debate or a discussion and they hit you with a yeah, but, it's usually followed with some kind of way for them to move the goalpost, or for them to try and pull how they are right out of the fact that we all know that they're wrong. We see that right there with Jason. Yeah, but... Alexis hit him with the truth. Hey, just like you're conflicted between me and Liz, I'm conflicted between you and AJ. And his response is, yeah, but, nah, bro.
Yeah, but you're saying like surface stuff.
Dude, we've been pursuing each other since day one. Like, come on. After all the things that we've said, that we've talked about, to say that I've been surface with him, that was like a slap in the face.
Y'all, this is where my annoyance level with the show starts to rise. I love the show, don't get me wrong. However, I feel like this is a little bit of where the manufactured tension comes in. At this point, Jason is pursuing both Liz and Kyra. He hasn't made a decision as of right now. So the only thing Jason seems to be looking for is for Kyra to be like, I want you, Jason. I know you're relentlessly pursuing Liz at the same time, but I want you. I'm not gonna worry about AJ. I want you, Jason. He wants to be clear. He wants Kyra to choose him, but in reality, he's already chosen Liz. So you're making demands of her as far as she needs to make a choice, when in reality, at this moment right now, Jason hasn't made a choice either, but that seems to be okay.
Where we are really at, because you know what you really feel right now. And so I'm asking you, what is it? Just say, okay, Jason, I'm ready. Say that. It's just so many different emotions and so many different frustrations. This is like just becoming a head case.
Yo, I ride for my dudes, but I gotta call bullshit on this one. Jason has formed a connection with two women, right? He definitely has a strong bond with one, that being Liz, but right now he's coming at Kyra like she's a problem because she hasn't made a choice. He hasn't made a choice either, but that seems to be okay. But for him to come at her and be like, yo, no, man, no. In fact, they have a word for that.
I'm at a point where I don't know how to proceed. I'm a soldier on the battlefield waiting on my captain. What you want me to do?
Of all the things that he set up to this one right here probably pissed me off the most. Men lead, men set the tone, men pursue women. We don't wait for the woman to tell us how to pursue them. We pursue them using whatever tools we have at our disposal. Like I said earlier, it may be our physical appearance, it may be our finances, it may be the prestige of our job. Whatever the case may be, we use that, we shoot our shot. If we hit, cool. If we get rejected, so be it. You take your L and you keep it pushing. That's just how it works. You do not ask, well, how do you want me to pursue you? If you're interested in her, you go after her. If you're not interested in her, then you fall back and you figure it out and go on somewhere else. That's what we have here. Yes, Jason is interested in Kyra. However, he has a more solid connection with Liz. At this point, he hasn't made a decision. However, he's coming at Kyra to make a decision basically choose him. And the reason being for that, I believe, is that he just doesn't want to tell Kyra that he's not interested, or that he has a stronger connection with Liz and he wants to move forward. He wants Kyra to commit to something that he himself is not committed to.
Everybody says it's not a lot of drama, no.
It's not, and I don't want that. Not to be talking about anybody else because this is our moment. My concern for you is for you not to yoke up with somebody that is going to cause you to continue on in dysfunction instead of the thing that you really need.
Again, Alexis has the man in front of her. And instead of strengthening the connection that she has with that man by saying, hey, you and I are so good together. Our personalities mesh so well. We balance each other out. I love how we communicate. All of those positive things in order to say, hey, you and I are a good match together. She instead goes in competition mode and starts denigrating her competition, in this case being Kyra, and all of that stuff. AJ's a lot of things, but he ain't stupid. And he knows that the only other person that she could be referring to is Kyra. No man wants to be with a woman who's low-key manipulative, which is what Alexis is doing right there, is she's trying to manipulate him emotionally. Ain't no dude want to be with that. So instead of her doing that, that's one of the main issues that I see with Alexis when she gets with the men. She does not talk to them. She instead detracts from the other woman. It's kind of like, there's certain car commercials. Whenever I hear them, hold on. Excuse me. Whenever I hear a car commercial, they're like, hey, we have more leg room than Honda, more payload than Ford. What they're saying is that, yeah, that's the better car, and we're doing everything that we possibly can to be better than that car. So to me, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go get the better car. If you bring up your competition to say that you're better than the competition in this regard or that regard, what you're really saying is that the competition is better than me. I just hope you don't notice it.
And that's something that you kind of hit the nail on the head. You was just like, what it is that you're used to doing versus what you should be doing.
Absolutely.
To actually, make some progress. You show me like a lot of that and those qualities in there. So I'm really appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of you.
Boy, my man said a whole bunch of nothing right there, boy. He started talking about how he appreciates the acceptance of the algorithm and how he pontificated, and the fact that she does a DeLoreanization, and because of the the faculty versus how they deal with the administration and all that. Man, look, if you got to ask somebody how they feel about you, you already know the answer. And honestly, he did not tell her anything that she didn't already know, because if he wanted Alexis, she would know it.
But I still did not feel secure in his answer. To be getting so close to the end of the process and having chosen someone who still don't know what he wants to do, it was very disappointing to me.
That's part of the problem right there, is that she wants to be chosen instead of being the woman that the men want. AJ said that she would be the safe choice, because quite honestly, all you really have to do is say, hey, you're my number one, and that would be it. That's the same thing with Ron. When Ron chose her, then hey, she chose Ron. She was happy at that point. It's not necessarily a good thing to be the safe choice, which is what AJ said in that long soliloquy that he just gave. Men, like I said, want what they want. And unfortunately, AJ does not want Alexis.
Are we good? And come get her.
Yeah, good.
I'm the only thing ahead. Is that all I'm getting?
Come here.
Again, men want what they want, and it shows in our actions. And it's in the little things as well. If a man wants you, he ain't gonna just pull you in or, hey, let me get a hug. Nah, when he really wants you, he's gonna pull you in for a kiss. We've seen Jason do that when he was relentlessly pursuing Liz. We've seen other situations where when the man is interested in the woman and she's already giving him those cues, don't get me wrong, you gotta get consent and all that, but which is why you've seen all the dudes say, hey, yo, can I give you a kiss? At the end of the day, though, it's not just, hey, come here, let me get a hug from you like a little sister. It's, come here, baby, let me give you this right here.
My dad taught me that love is not confusing. It should be simple.
Connection.
Yeah.
Vibes.
Yeah. And so for that, I'm gonna choose Liz.
So now we're down to the period, it's not just elimination, but it's also where the final couples are cemented. I will say that David's dad is 100% right. Love is simple. It really is. You like somebody, they like you. You get the butterflies and the flutters. It's a good, simple feeling. What happens though, and you know me, I gotta have we're gonna talk about therapy. If you have unresolved issues from your past and you're trying to bring them in now, the feelings of love that you're experiencing are now gonna be, okay, is it real? All of the other BS, and not to mention just the day-to-day drama of just living in today's society. All of those things, can affect the simplistic aspect of love. However, with all that being said, Jason finally made his choice, and of course, he chose Liz.
Just remember, communication is the key. And be truthful.
Yep.
Transparent, even if it's bad news, just bring it.
And I believe that's why Amber and I have been so solid, because I'd rather you slap me with the truth than kiss me with a lie.
There you go.
Communication is key, and part of communication is being honest. It's also being transparent. That's something that, we've talked about with both Joel and Vernisha, and right now with KG and Amber. That honesty, that transparency is something that they're definitely going to have to work on as they move forward.
Sound like this trip has been the clarity that you needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look, ain't no seesaw. What that little law tool is, ain't none of that. No.
The cheetah tighter, right.
So it's definitely Miss Vernisha.
Yes, it's a definite.
And it is definitely Miss Amber.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
I've said it, men know who we want, and we know it pretty quickly, usually at the first conversation. It may take us a minute to formalize it, but we pretty much know, like, yo, there's something about this particular woman, and this is just something there. You feel it, you know it. Both KG and Joel, especially, let's go back. Joel with Vernisha, he knew, like, yo, there's something about her, and the same thing with KG and Amber. Because if you recall, they met, I want to say it was when they met at the mixer on the second episode. They knew that, yo, there's something about this woman, and now here it is where we are almost at the end, and they're both saying that KG is choosing to be with Amber, and Joel is definitely choosing to be with Vernisha.
Well, we're at that point. You know the ultimate question I'm gonna ask you. If you had to leave out here tonight and roll back to Houston, who would you be rolling with?
Man, I wouldn't want to see either of them gone, man. Kyra or Alexis.
So the final couple, quote unquote, is AJ, and it's up to him to make his decision between Alexis and Kyra. As I just said, men know who we want, and we know it pretty quickly. And if you think about it, AJ he knows that he's wanted Kyra from even before the show. If you recall, way back when, they said that they went on not one, but 2 dates with each other. So that means that there's definitely been an interest there. I've talked about the whole backtracking thing, but AJ has wanted Kyra for a while. That's why he asked her out on a second date. And now that they're on the show together, this was his opportunity to be with her. Now, who he's going to choose, that's a whole different thing.
This is your last day here on this process. You're not ready to love.
Okay.
So AJ made his decision, and that Kyra is not ready to love, and that her journey is going to come to an end. AJ's whole problem, if you will, for lack of a better word, isn't the fact of, that he doesn't necessarily want Kyra. Lord knows he does. It's that she just hasn't committed to either him or to Jason. This is one of those things where the timelines on this show, because of it's an abbreviated dating process and things don't develop naturally and organically, this is where we lead to where we are right now.
I mean, we sat there still holding hands, so I could feel that he wasn't ready to say bye, and I wasn't ready to say bye to him either. Have my hand back.
I don't want it to be the last time I hold it. Do you want to be here with me?
I need to fall out.
Another cliffhanger ending. Now, from the previews, it looks like Kyra is still on the show, but Alexis is not. So this is going to be kind of interesting to see how they do the next episode. Y'all, this show be getting on my doggone nerves, but I'm going to keep watching it, though. But I'm still going to talk about it. I do love this Ready to Love, boy. I swear. Gotta love it. Anyway, as always, y'all, please follow me on social media on Facebook and Instagram. It's going to be at author Christopher Markland. And on Twitter, it's going to be at author _Chris M. That's author _Chris M. Look, I had a brain fart for a second there. Y'all, I've been talking about doing my Markland Mondays. I took a little hiatus trying to set some things up. So we're not gonna have a show tonight or the next Monday, but it's gonna be, I'm gonna announce the date. So y'all, please stay tuned. As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And as always, y'all, stay determined.